All right, welcome to Jack Dotson's Racing Insider News with Erin Goodman, Scott Allen. Oh, there's Scott Allen.
There,
he did turn. He
late
did,
to the show.
He did get on here.
He's late.
How you doing, Scott? Scott?
I'm good. I'm good. I had to get my earbuds. Can't hear me unless I'm on the screen jack.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
Don't tell me this again. I don't want to hear this.
What? I can hear you.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
But I can't hear you.
Okay, let me see.
What that may be. Now try. Can you hear me? Now talk.
Yeah, can you got me?
There we go.
Thank God.
I have to have the buttons right before we can talk.
Imagine that.
But anyway, I see you're still at work.
No, I'm home. I just got home.
Okay. I thought that cabinet was your cabinet at work. Never mind.
No.
All right. Let's talk about our broadcast partners that help
Marketing
us out.
partners.
Marketing, broadcast partners, whatever. You know what I mean. See, this is what I work with.
This is why he likes having me here.
Yeah. All right. We're sponsored by Slinger Speed Company. And Scott, we got to do something about this thing you did here with this Slinger thing. Mayhem Management, and Miss Mayhem is right here.
No, and the actual Mayhem is in the building tonight. So
Papa John's, we haven't received our pizzas yet. They're not here yet. Scott?
That's part of the show right there.
I know.
All right, and
Yeah,
the show is presented by Smith Wraps and Graphics. Need your car wrapped and some graphics? Go ahead and call them. The rest of this year, we'll have NC811, but I confirmed with Brian Morehouse just moments ago, he's coming back for 2023, but it's going to be Virginia 811.
Oh, breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
It just happened just a little while after. Matter of fact, it happened after I got here today, so that was a pretty good deal.
Fresh off the press, huh?
GAC, Great American Companies. Guillermo Amaya got a lot of business going up and down the East Coast with construction. So support him. Bondrett Brothers Distillery. I got to get down to Bondrett Brothers and get some more moonshine and bring it back up here. I haven't.
Yeah, tonight would have been a good time to have that.
Yeah. No, I need everybody in the right mind here in a few minutes. Also by Pepsi. We can't do anything without Pepsi. I can't. Scott doesn't do, but anyway. Langley Speedway. We're going to thank Chuck and Bill and I guess Vaughn too. I guess he's part of it too. And we want to thank them for letting us have this place to do this. Factory Canopies. I want to thank Todd Davis and everybody at Factory Canopy. He's got a lot of stuff going on. And hopefully I'm going to have him on the show in the next few weeks and he can talk about what he's got going on. Black Acid Apparel, if you want 1 shirt or 25 shirts, these are the people to call if you need it. MPM Marketing, Tanya McAllister, it's McAllister Performance Marketing. She can help you with driver suits, promotions, or whatever. And seems to be pretty good at it from what I understand. So that's our partners for tonight. Anything you got to say, Scott? Oh, Scott didn't shut up on me again.
Oh, boy.
All right. Hello, Scott. Are you going to talk? Huh? You can't hear us? Oh, you're shutting up. I don't like that's not good. When you shut up like that. All right. Let's talk about what all been taking place this past weekend. Somebody told me there was a race at Martinsville.
I think I heard something about.
Somebody said there was a big race at Martinsville this past weekend.
Crazy.
And I'm gonna tell you what, it's gotten a lot of publicity. Racetrack is doing well. Racetrack's doing well. So anyway, at Martinsville,
racing is alive and well.
How did you feel about the qualifying that the 10 cars instead of the top cars being locked in like they've been doing?
No, I like the format. I can't say that the ones up front are too crazy about that format. Right.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm used to them saying the first 20 is locked in and take a certain amount from each.
Yeah. It was exciting. Made it exciting.
Made a good race.
Yeah.
All the heat races were pretty good.
Really?
Huh?
Something about them heat races.
I'm not gonna talk. We'll talk about heat races in a few minutes.
You
We'll get
brought it
that.
up.
Oh, by the way, we will not be unveiling the BALLUZZO trophy tonight, like I was told we were. It's not completed yet. They had a problem with it, so it's not completed. So, but anyway, the possibility they're not going. We may have rain this weekend, and if we do,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get them the next week. So anyway, all right, back to Martinsville. In heat number 1, Bobby McCarty got the win over Brendan Queen, Caden Honeycutt, Fryer, and Heim. Heat number 2, and there was a little incident in that first heat race too. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
I heard
I haven't heard about that either. In the second heat, Chase Burrow. I guess Ward. Which one of Ward is that? I forget which one it was. And Samaro finished 3rd. Jake Crum finished 4th, and Ryan Matthews finished 5th.
How about old Matthews?
Ryan did really good.
Yeah,
He did a great job.
in heat race number 3, some guy named Looney won the race, followed by Sellers, Van Dyke, Peters, and Langley. That was a pretty good race too.
Yeah.
And heat race number 4, Daniel Silvestri, Landon Pimpleton, Fox, and Majeski finished in the. What is that?
Was what?
Was your dinner ready?
What it sounded like. All right, in the race itself, segment number 1, Mike Looney he finished first in the first segment. Mike Looney finished first in the second segment. But Peyton Sellers came around with the overall win.
Got his clock.
He finally got his clock. I saw him up there kissing and hugging on that clock. Kind of like Scott when he got his first trophy. He kissed and hugged on it.
He probably took it.
But
You slept with your trophy too, so don't judge a man for sleeping with his clock.
All right, in the Cup Series, Tyler Reddick got the win. How about that Cup race, man? That was unbelievable. Xfinity race was Noah Gragson. Up at Dominion this past weekend, the Bandolero was run by Brian Runstrom. Virginia Racer race number 1, Eddie Slagle. Virginia racers number 2, Mike Gano. The Legends both races were run by Alex Andrex, and the Modifieds were run by Kayla Searle. Let me tell you something, Kayla Searle. She's got herself together this year.
She was a half a second faster in qualifying over the rest of the field. She was rolling.
She was. All right, this week's Driver of the Week, voted on by you. Well, it didn't come down like I wanted it to. But anyway, Driver of the Week, Chase Burrow.
The kid got it done.
Now, I gotta say something, okay? You're here, so I can say it and not feel bad about it.
Please do.
Where did you hook up all the mafia?
Look, Chase Burrow his fan club is fierce, and honestly, it's just who Chase is as a person. The way that he supports his friends, other drivers, just everything. Holly and Ryan have done an incredible job raising both of their boys, and once you are in with that family, it's family, and they rally around him and they support him. And
I went back and looked. I guess I'm weird in a way. I go back and look. I have every time we gave away Driver of the Week. I've got the tabulations from way back. I've got them all. I went through them this week just for the heck of it. Ain't nobody got as many votes as Chase Burrow did.
And I will speak, us racing against Chase, me being able to be on the Cars tour with Tyrell, seeing Chase all over the place, all his competitors he has conversation with. I mean, he is a great young man. There's no doubt. So I think everybody has realized that, and plus Erin, I know, paid a lot of people to vote. So.
Oh, I didn't get that memo.
I know. Team Mayhem.
Here's Peyton Sellers. He goes out and wins the biggest race he's wanted to win in years.
Right.
He wins the race. He's not even Driver of the Week. He didn't even finish second in the for the driver of the week?
We gotta be honest, a 17-year-old kid showing up to Martinsville, qualifying outside
First
pole. I mean, his first trip to Martinsville, he put it outside pole, won his heat race, claimed that second spot again, and he battled top 10 all night.
He did a great job. I will give him that.
And Jack, to have him on this
Yeah.
show and have him talk about his qualifying, is a
Oh,
story you really want to hear.
There's
That's a story.
we
you
can
wanna
drop that breaking news that we can ask him that next week. It's
Okay.
a great story.
Okay, well, we'll do that. So anyway, Chase Burrow is the driver of the week. All right, joining us here tonight, you had a little bit of a mafia thing too going on when you got driver of the week. Everybody voted
Yeah.
You get associated with some of the guys I'm associated with, and I guess they got a large following.
you. Right, now, who are some of the guys you're associated with?
You all know them. They've been on the show. Roger Bell.
Oh, okay.
That whole crew there.
You
There's
didn't
a
have-
lot of them.
Didn't have to say anything else after you said Roger Bell.
Yeah, he's got his
So
own,
I can
following.
So that's a pretty good deal. So tell us a little bit about your season down at Dixieland and all your racing this year.
Well, it's been a heck of a lot better than last year, I can tell you that. We made some updates on the car in the off season, and it paid off. It paid dividends. We've been competitive just about every week we were there, and the guys, man, everybody I got around me, I can't thank them enough.
So who all is involved with your car?
So my chassis guy is Brad Adams. He's my setup guy. I turn to him for just about everything on a weekly basis. He's incredibly intelligent and just all around good dude. He's not only does he help me, he helps everybody. I mean, from late models to the trucks to mini stocks, and he helps everybody. So that's my chassis guy. And Gene Nichols and George Coleman, they put a motor in the car, so you can't go wrong when you get that combination together.
So how many years have you been racing?
This was my first full season. So we started last year. We finished 5 races. We entered 8 races last season, and we finished 5. And so we got
So
Pretty good turnaround.
how many wins we get this year?
we won 8 races.
Wow. And the champion and everything goes along with it. That's pretty cool deal for you.
Yeah, it's
In your real first year, basically.
well, yeah. I mean, I entered 8 races last year, so I wouldn't call it a rookie year, but we had a much better season this year for sure.
Yeah, that's just one of the way. That's the way it works out. You get a little bit more experience, and your things go well.
I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot to learn. It's much easier sitting in the stands looking than what it is behind the wheel.
You never know that because
I've been going to these tracks for several years and watching from the outside, and I'm like, man, why did he do this? He could have won that race if he'd have done that. Or, you get behind that wheel, it's a whole different story.
oh yeah. So you like racing on dirt, so
I do.
are you ever thinking about the possibility of moving up to asphalt and doing some asphalt racing?
You never close your doors to anything, but I'm enjoying what we got going on now. At least in my division, it's a more affordable division.
Hello. Okay. Mic wasn't working for a minute.
Oh. Okay. You back?
Yep, I'm good.
All right. Got everything to go. So, are your plans for next year run the same thing again, or
We've got some options, but I think so. I think we're gonna stick to what we know and go from there. I need more experience. I need more seat time. I don't feel like I've turned a good lap yet. We've got a lot of work left to do in the car, and so I'd like to stick where I'm at.
Dixieland is always, I raced down there a few times, and it always seemed to be a little different than most dirt tracks.
Yeah, you could say that.
The way you attack that track is different than you would go somewhere else and drive.
No doubt about it. Next week, actually, I'm gonna try for the first time going elsewhere. I'm gonna take my car to Halifax and see what we can do. Mr. Wells has always got a nice looking track out there, so I'm excited to go down there and showcase this Adams race team car and see what happens.
Cool. That's a big deal to go down there and work with him. I mean, work at his track.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
He's got a heck of a team down there on that track.
Yeah, he does.
So, well, anyway, one of the things you're here for,
Dun, dun, dun.
Uh-oh.
you won Driver of the Week after you got that last
Mafia.
Amazing. That's amazing. Well, I can't thank you guys enough. Everybody who voted on me.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
guys.
Well earned.
Even Scott's involved in it. We don't let him know it sometimes.
Well, I like that he's sitting there and he can watch and be a part of it. That's kind of nice.
Thanks, man.
We do miss you, Scott.
Aw.
That's not what she said when she called me earlier today.
I bet.
We did. Look, I even brought little bundt cakes today for the show.
Oh,
Wow. Oh yeah. Huh?
Oh, that's
You took 'em outta
because
here.
we had a little
No.
mayhem moment off air, so I had to sweeten them up with some little bundt cakes to make him happy as he's devouring just the icing.
All right. Well, tell us, who all your sponsors are, and everybody helps you out with that.
So first guy that came on board, I've known him since I was a little kid. His name's LJ Wood. Y'all probably seen him. He does the PDRA tour. He owns Affordable Transmissions. He's been around the race scene for a long time. His son run late model out here for a little bit, Jordan Wood. He was the first one we put on the car right off Jump Street. And then we had B&B Hose and Rubber. I used to work for them. They run a car down here years ago, Andy Bell.
Yeah, Andy Bell, yeah.
They were associated with Mr. BALLUZZO way back in the day. Advanced Exterior, Asset. You see Asset all over the place down here. Ashley from there, she came on board earlier towards the beginning of this season. And it's just been Robert Moody, B&B Hose and Rubber. Man, you get up here on this show and you don't really know what to say. You get nervous, but I've got such a good group of people around me.
You don't have to be nervous.
It's a good problem to have a lot of people to thank, and
It really
that plays
is.
a part of it.
It really, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, that's for sure. The car probably wouldn't make it to the track if it wasn't for them. So,
Takes a village.
So, what got you? I mean, you said you come around. You've been around the racetracks and everything, and watched it. What turned the tide for you to say, all right, I'm going out there and do this?
man, overtime. Overtime at work was picking up, and this thing takes a fortune it takes a lot of money to race. So I had a little extra money, had a lot of free time, and I went and bought a race car. Roger Bell put me onto a super street car that was up for sale. And we put it together and went out there and tore it up and bounced off the wall and hit everybody in the sun. I made a ton of enemies my rookie year out there. I bounced off everybody, but we kind of got it figured out, and now we're having some fun.
That's cool. You ain't got no enemies down at Dixieland?
None that'll say it right here on the show, I don't think. I'm sure there's some people that don't really care for us, but they normally don't talk about it too much.
Those are just fans in denial. That's okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure everybody has their own little haters.
yeah, well, that's true. I mean, that's.
So it makes it fun.
Now I'm gonna ask you. Did you happen to see the Martinsville, any of the Martinsville races?
So, like I said, overtime had picked up. I haven't watched a race all year.
So
So
you
if
didn't-
I wasn't in the race or at the racetrack, I haven't watched a race all year long.
So you didn't get to see all the action from the other night.
I did not. get to
Haven't
see
turned
it.
on a TV this week.
I've
looked at
heard more
social
talk
media.
about it. I saw a clip on, it may have been something that one of you guys shared of a gentleman sharing some words with another guy sitting in a car.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they
that
looked like they
sounds-
were shaking hands or something aggressively.
Yeah, they were shaking hands on it.
aggressively.
But that might be the best way. That's a good explanation of it. It was a very aggressive handshake.
That's right.
Yeah, it was aggressive.
We're
handshake.
gonna go with that.
So, have you ever brought somebody up that hey, I gotta,
Man,
and then they come back and jump in your case?
that's not my style. I'll tear my own car up to try not to tear somebody. I know how much work goes into these things and how hard it is to make it to the track every week. And I've been very fortunate and blessed to not have anybody tear my stuff up. So I would not want to do that to them.
Well, I agree with you on that, because when I had my car, everybody was going crazy, wrecking and everything, and I would try to stay out of it as much as I can. And then I had a brother that was racing in the same class with me,
Oh boy.
and he at times would run over everything. I mean, just whatever was out there, he would knock it out of the way. And that was a big deal, you know.
Well, I'll tell y'all a short story. So my dad raced bombers at Dixieland back in the mid to late 90s. And his name was Crash. So his name's David Crash. People call him Crash. Some people don't know his real name.
What the hell are you doing,
What
Scott?
going on?
I thought you was blowing your nose the first time.
Well,
But he carried a reputation for tearing up a lot of cars and flipped it down the front stretch a couple of times, and he earned his name Crash. And I was trying to do everything I could to avoid getting that nickname, or Crash Jr. or Little Crash. So
Well, sometimes it just happens.
I tore my own car up enough, so they started calling me Smash Jordan. So that one, I'm hoping that doesn't stick after this first season, you know.
So what is it really like for you to be at Dixieland? Dixieland it's iconic in a way. It's iconic in a way, Russ.
They're hilarious.
Oh, Lord. Well, it's the only track I really have any experience outside of being a part of Brad Adams' crew here. So I don't know anything different. I can't very well give you an explanation of what I think about it. I can tell you Red and Debbie do everything they can to make sure that their racers are happy. I mean, you hear you'll never please everybody.
No.
But he'll let you vote on what you think we should do. He listens to your opinions and he takes everything into consideration. You can't ask for a better guy.
Well, for a racetrack that's been down there as long as Dixieland's been there and everything, it's pretty cool that it's still doing as well as it.
No doubt. It's nice to be a part of it for sure, you know. He's been putting on some bigger shows these last few years with the Steel Block Band that's coming around, and I'm hoping to get the car count up a little bit. Seems like there's a lot more integration between the asphalt and the dirt guys here recently, between Brad running a Sportsman, and then you got Brendan Queen running a late model, and Chase was down there a couple of weeks ago running a late model. It's nice to see that. It's good for the sport. Brings a fan base together, brings everybody together.
And you get somebody like Brendan Queen to show up down there and race, and then win. I mean, go down there and win.
He's winning against some of the best around. As far as I'm concerned, these are guys I grew up like, oh my God, these are heroes. You know what I mean? And he's winning against. That's a lot of talent right there. That's a ton of talent. Yeah, it's kind of cool to go down there and shake his hand and tell him congratulations, much of us share victory lane with him in the same night. That's kind of very humbling.
Well, it is good for a driver. It's really good to go dirt and asphalt in a way. He gets to experience two different things there. I don't know. It was mentioned 2 or 3 times on the race Sunday about the dirt racers being able to handle this PJ1 stuff they put on the track, and it's like they get up on like a berm up on top of there. Yeah, it's a whole different world. I wouldn't want to do it. Who put that up there? Who put that up there?
I don't know.
I got a feeling you did. You can go ahead and take that down now.
Well,
we were doing so good until you guys started messing with it.
Somebody pinned a comment on the screen saying that Jack did good moving over for the move over flag.
Look, I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. When Southampton went asphalt, and I wasn't even in the ballpark on asphalt with these guys. I mean, these guys from Langley came to Southampton to race. They brought the whole group from Langley down to Southampton. And they all show up, and then there's like 3 or 4 of us from Southampton going to race this race against all these, and there was a couple of times I figured I better get out of the way. I better get out of the way.
He got lapped twice in one lap.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. It's been nice talking to you, Scott. Your ass got to go now, okay? Don't make me
mute button.
Don't make me exit you out here.
Yeah, well, I could do you too.
But the thing is, you do me, you're turning everything off. But anyway, it's a lot of fun to run the dirt and have
It's a lot more
Go ahead and
fun.
tell Brad to let you drive his modified up here one
He's
day.
offered it before, but I'm gonna tell you, I can't drive my own car, and I paid for it. So I
I
don't
ain't
want to get
driving
something.
somebody
Right,
else's.
there ain't no way. I get nervous backing up. Look, he asked me to take it out of. I think he run second or third one night. He was like, "Hey, my arms are wore out." I think it may have been the after the BALLUZZO race last year. He's like, "My arms are wore out. His shoulder's been giving him a fit." He's like, "Just back my car out and drive it around to the thing." We got the same transmission, same style setup. And I was so nervous getting in that man's car. 5 mile an hour around the track. I was just so nervous. I would never want to get in nobody else's stuff.
I wouldn't want to race nobody's stuff, but I would like to play with them sometimes. Just to get in and play with it.
The more I've been driving my car, and your confidence builds and things like that, I may take an opportunity, maybe not out here, but maybe at Dixieland with a sportsman car. If I get an opportunity to drive one, I might give that a shot one time.
I mean, I took what they call a sportsman car at Southampton back in the day. We had the guy that's helping me with my car. He had a sportsman car, and he said, "Here, go out there and ride it and take a few laps on it." And we were at a practice session.
Right.
That wasn't for me at that point.
Well, this started with Roger Bell. I told you all that. So in 2020, COVID was real bad. That's when COVID took off. We had run 4 races at Dixieland. They ended up shutting down the whole
Right,
season.
I remember that, yeah.
So towards the end of that season, it was a short season, they opened up the track for rentals, and we took Roger's car out there. And he let everybody drive. He let me drive. And that's where it started at. Now, I've known this guy since I was a little kid, okay? You would think that he would kind of look after me, but he took the worst possible video. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking I'm running 100 mile an hour. I'm getting ready to set a track record. I'm flying is what it felt like. And you go and look at the video, and my man posted it on Facebook, social media. He got 100 million followers. He's got me doing 10 mile an hour around the track. I'm slow as molasses. I'm getting passed by everybody. And he's got the nerve to post it on social media. That's where it started at. I was like, Lord have mercy. So that's why I don't like getting in nobody else's car.
I wish I'd have had social media. We did the same thing to my dad. Okay. And my dad, he helped both me and my brother. And we decided one night we're up there for a practice session. Dad's doing all this stuff. Let's put him in the car one time and let him take it out, take a few laps. Well, he bucked on us a little bit, said, "No, I don't want to do that. That's not me. I can't do that." But we talked him into it. We had to go get pillows and fix him in the seat and get him situated. And he went out on the track and come up. You come up the backside of the track he got out there in that car.
That's what I look like.
Just barely moving around the track. Just barely. And we kept hollering, "Go, go!" And
Well, you're in the car, you got your helmet on. It was my first experience in a race car, actually driving it on a track, And I guess the exhaust being next to the firewall and, next to the cockpit and everything, it sounded like I was running 100 mile an hour and sitting low. You're somewhat up against the wall. You think you're flying. And I looked at the video and I was so embarrassed. I was like, you put this on Facebook. God, look, that's my best look. Where's the camera at?
Well, you've got some comments there. Joe says that you're his hero.
Joe Weiss,
yeah.
That's my buddy there.
Mike says that you're his hero and he wants your autograph.
His daughter's got my autograph. I'll give him one though. But hey, we'll be going to the go-kart track, I think Saturday afternoon. We're not racing. So Mike seems fairly fast up there. I might have to take him up there, let him show me how to get around that track.
Oh,
little brother's in town. He was in the service, so he wants to go do a little go-kart racing, so I'm going to go up there and spank him.
Don't come back embarrassed now, okay?
I won't come back.
Don't come
You
back.
won't hear nothing else from me.
Don't come back embarrassed. I've said that a few times myself, and it's going to be pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
See, now Scott's a different person. He's
Yeah, I don't get embarrassed.
That's exactly right. He don't get embarrassed.
That's a good problem to have,
Because no matter, they had to go down and put the writing on the pedal so he'll know which one was which.
He's like me here in my group. Them guys at the shop, they give me a hard time all the time, and y'all are bragging.
But you know what? Scott
Does he
dishes it
deserve
out
it?
too.
Does he
Scott
deserve it?
dishes it out.
He hadn't
He
been
is
nothing
not
but nice to me.
He's been what? Nothing
He's
but nice.
been nothing but nice to me.
You don't know him well.
I don't know him well enough. Huh?
You need to sit down and talk to him about his, he running the Pro Sixes out here.
Okay.
And,
He needs some help.
I'm not.
Gen X has motor rentals.
Yeah, is that Wayne back there?
I'm not gonna say nothing bad. I'm not gonna say nothing bad yet. But
Yet.
he's had some issues, and I'm dead serious. He didn't know which pedals were which. He qualified.
Screw it one time.
Qualified second one night on the front row of the race. I'm thinking, and everybody up here was asking me who's driving the car, and so I'm all excited. I'm thinking, hey, I might see Scott do something tonight.
Yeah, you're ready to root for your friend.
So I'm thinking this is going to be cool. And I was thinking, now if he gets towards the end of the race and he's running real good, I'm gonna run down the track and because he might.
That's the only way he'd ever get to victory lane.
No. So you want to keep adding stuff on here.
Hey, I did became driver of the week 2 times. Until the rule changed. You can't be driver of the week no more. Yeah. You can't be driver.
Oh, he's in charge of counting, huh?
No, I put a rule out. He's not because he's part of the show.
Right.
He can't get the driver of the week.
I'm ineligible. Hey, when they make a rule up against you, that's not a bad thing.
Must be doing something right when they're.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Wait. Let's talk about what he's doing right. Okay. We ain't got a short list, so you don't have to worry about it.
We can wrap up soon, huh?
The night he's so-called driver of the week thing he got, he comes down the front straightaway here and goes around there, and he's all the way coming into turn 3 when the leader comes to comes right here, and I'm thinking, wow, that's not going to be too good, with the end of the race. And by the time the end of the race was over with, the leader was not far behind him, and then the race was over, and I
was just riding, Jack.
Okay, well, he finished 5th out of 4 cars. And
I knew this was coming.
So, he had a tough time, But then I'm going home, and all of a sudden my phone just beep, 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 beep all the way home. And then at night I'm at home and it's still beeping. And all of a sudden everybody's voting for Scott for driver of the week. How do you vote for somebody driver of the week that finished 5th in a 4-car race?
So was it a joke?
No, it wasn't a joke.
No, there was more cars, so they tore up a bunch of stuff, and I didn't have a scratch left on my car.
Got to get close to them to scratch them.
No, I went by a few of them, but luckily they were all way on the outside lane.
I just want to point out that I've stayed quiet and I've been nice.
You have, Erin. You've been
You're
nice.
supposed to be
Guilty by
I
association.
know, but I'd really I've got to get back on a truce with Scott at some point.
Why?
We got to work together.
He's got to take his seat back at some point.
Maybe not.
Oh.
Wow.
Hmm.
But you remember hearing about arena races?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Well, Scott used to run arena races.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where he got his other trophy from. He got 2. He got 1.
3. I got 3 or 4, Jack. That's about 3 or 4 more than you got.
Well, boy,
Whew.
I'm not going to.
I don't know what's going to be worse, the next part of this show or right now.
We're getting warmed up for the next
Is
part.
this our pregame for the Grady and Callahan?
Right.
Scott did pretty decent in the arena cars, but him and this other guy had a little beef, during the year.
I was the Andrew Grady.
Oh.
Yeah, he did turn out to be the Andrew Grady because
Aggressive handshake?
Aggressive handshake.
Wasn't a handshake.
Aggressive handshake.
Nope, that wasn't a
No.
handshake.
I creamed him under caution.
With the
Well, wait a minute. He's not telling you the whole story. He did get him under caution. The cars were all going that way, but he was coming this way.
And he was the points leader, and it was the last race.
And
Oh.
he hit it.
Needless to say, he didn't win.
He did not win the point.
Yeesh,
Did not win.
what?
And the man who runs arena racing told him you were lucky it was the last race of the season, or you'd have had a problem. But Scott was smart. He knew to hit him at the last race of the season. He gave him warning he wasn't going to win the championship. He did.
I mean,
Some people have more to lose than others, and people shouldn't throw stones at glass houses.
There's strategy in all of it, right?
sometimes holding back on that payback is do it when it matters.
Wait a minute. Hey, what didn't Denny say this weekend that I'll implement the
I'll add it
punishment?
to the list.
Well, no, he said something about the penalty. I'll take care of the penalty myself.
Oh, yeah, before.
Yeah, 'cause they were
after
asking-
the race. If he
Yeah.
got close to him again, he'll issue the penalty.
That's right. So that's all I did.
Well, there you go.
And
You gotta
did
get your
good.
point
He did
across.
good. He did good at it.
Sometimes you got to.
He did really good at it.
We never had a problem after that.
No.
I bet not.
You didn't. How much did you race after that?
Another year or so.
Oh.
We didn't touch anymore after that.
Well, I'd have
That's
been.
a tough lesson to have to learn.
It was a $10,000 payday.
Fair enough.
What did he say, Scott?
Get it done for less.
You were using his car to, what was it?
To wreck myself.
Yeah. The guy told him you were using your car to wreck yourself. And Scott didn't like what he said, so it all came out in the long run.
Yeah. I guess they settled it, huh?
So you ever had a situation where you wanted to settle a little beef with somebody?
No,
I
no, I
have.
haven't.
I have.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Well, you can never close any doors, right? But I've been very
That's one
fortunate.
you could probably want to close.
Everybody in my division, for the most part, has driven me really clean. So hats off to the Dixieland Super Street guys and girls, Holly Weiss, Joe Weiss. We've rubbed and touched, but nobody's taken anybody out intentionally, or at least torn up cars. Nobody's torn up any cars too bad. So
That's a good thing.
yeah, and everybody giving me I broke apart one night and I was terrible. I was all over the place, and everybody passed me clean. Nobody moved me out of the way, and I know I was holding everybody up. So thank them for that.
This is the best lead-in dating we've ever had. Davey is the one we're going to have on here in just a minute. He's the one that if you saw the pictures, I mean,
Have you seen the video?
If
You
it's the
can be
video I'm
honest.
thinking, if it's the video I'm thinking of where he was leaning in the window and they were having their
they were shaking
discussion,
hands.
yeah, I saw that video. I didn't see what led up to it.
Racing for
So you did see that?
Getting a big race.
Yeah.
Have you seen the on-track video of
No.
what caused it? Would you
No,
like to see that?
that's what I've missed.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Well,
kinda-
we're waiting for Davey to jump on.
Is this Dave? No.
No.
No, that's not.
Is what's Brady getting on to?
Huh?
Same time?
No.
All right, he's after.
Who's
Yeah.
after?
Grady's after
Yeah.
Davey. No, I'm not. See, I got 2 or 3 things here. I was
Davey's on
told.
the inside.
What is that?
Your video shows a lot.
It's my oven. It's my dinner going off.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Because my video ain't.
the thing about it is, I was thinking Willie was going to bring Davey down here tonight. That's what I thought. But Diamond sent.
Yeah, Davey, me and Davey talked. We were trying to make it work out. I just don't think it worked out. Plus, remember, they're coming from Northern Virginia.
Right. I mean, I didn't even. They're the ones that said they wanted to come down. I didn't. But yeah. I was not about.
Hey.
At the same time.
No, and I mean,
Well, and look who.
Look who it is.
Speaking of the punching bag, he's in the box.
Let's get him on
Are you
here.
sticking around, or did you want to hop out?
Oh, did you say
Yeah,
him?
you can stay here. It's fine.
Hey, Davey Callahan.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How's everything with you?
Pretty good. Can't complain here.
Okay.
Wayne's struggling to get the bag of
Did you
popcorn
know-
open. Just 1 second.
Wayne's over here eating popcorn. He's waiting to see what's going on here.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I don't want to know why wasn't Wang over there helping you out.
I brought the popcorn.
I mean, all my big guys were.
I heard you. We were celebrating on the front stretch because we got in the big show.
Look, here's the funny part. So I'm on the pit box in turn 1. Grady comes by going to the back stretch. I obviously know what's about to happen. I look up and the Gen X team all wears Hunter orange hats. So you see them from a mile away. I see them on the pit wall. They just realized they got the transfer spot and they were in the race and they're jumping, celebrating, and I turn over and baby is under attack. And I'm like, guys,
I really. So first, let's talk about Martinsville. How good you did at Martinsville. You got in the big race, finished 22nd. You got to be happy with that to get going and be able to. Is this the first time you got to the big race?
Yeah, for sure. This is only the second time I've ever been there. So first time in the big race. Man, it was an awesome weekend for a small team like us. Minus the drama and how it went down. I mean, there's some things I like about it. There's some things that don't. But all in all, it was a pretty cool weekend for us.
It's really cool that I sit at home. I couldn't make it up there because of my back. It wouldn't let me stand around up there. But, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, that Callahan, he's pretty tough. I'm glad to see he finally made the race. I was tickled. And then after the race, the party you had after the race, there with you and Grady and everybody having a little party.
aggressive handshake.
Yeah, aggressive handshakes. You didn't even have a chance to shake his hand, did you?
No, not really.
Because I saw you were trying to get loose in there, and Wayne said you finally got loose and pushed him off, but I didn't see that part.
Yeah, it was one of those deals, man. I've never been attacked like that, I guess, but at the same time, respectfully, I do understand his frustrations. We were fighting for that last transfer spot, and I had moved from the back all the way up to where I was, so I was moving forward. I had forward momentum going, and we were trying to do everything I could to get my sponsors and my team and me and everyone that makes this deal happen. Like I said, we're a really small team, and just it meant a lot to try to get this thing in the show. And there was a lot riding on me getting in the show. And, I'm not proud of some things that happened and how they happened. Would I have done something differently on the racetrack? I don't think so. But there are things that happen. Who I hate it for is Brandon Pierce the most, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, what you did, in my opinion, I may be this long thing on this. What you did, in my opinion, is a racing thing. It wasn't anything intentional going on there. It wasn't trying to knock him out. If he'd have been in the same situation or somebody else had been in that situation, you'd have had the same thing again, because you're still going for that. This is your chance to get in the race. I mean,
Yeah.
do what you got to do.
Unfortunately, only one of us could have gotten the race at that point for that position. And like I said, we were moving forward. We had started dead last. We had a good momentum going on, and it's like I said, it's a tough deal, man. There's always two sides to every story. There's defense and there's offense, and you're playing one side of the fence or the other. I've been on both sides, and the experience I have, and as long as I've been doing this, it was to the point where I felt like I had enough position that there could have been a little bit more room getting into one. Like I said, that's a two-sided argument, which is, I guess, the beauty of the whole thing. But I felt like I was there enough to at least maybe be given a little bit more room, and we could have, it was going to be hairy one way or another. Like I said, I hate it for Brandon because Brandon was on the outside of that deal. And to be honest, as fast as it happened and everything, I didn't really calculate it the right way with him being on the outside. And that's really, really what went wrong the most.
Yeah. Well, I think you did a great job to get to where you did and everything. And I know you didn't expect all this publicity afterwards. I mean, Davey Callahan, all of a sudden, you own everything. I turned TV on at night and watched, what was it, the night show or something, whatever it is at night with Colbert. And there's Davey on that one.
Hey, you got to admit, Davey, it's got to be pretty fun with all this stuff. Even though what happened has happened, it's gotten you a lot of publicity, and that's good for sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's me or Grady or one of the two, there's always going to be a good guy and a bad guy, but for both of us, I think it's good. It's good for the sport. It's good for me and him, I guess, in some ways, that we're both getting out there in a bigger stage, and the sponsors and, the media and stuff, hell, I got 22nd in the race, and I've been on Good Morning America and all these, well-known TV shows. And
I've heard Davey's name more than Seller's name this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been, in that regard, it's been great. It's definitely great for us. And like I said, we fight from year to year. I don't have a rich dad or mom or uncle or brother or whoever, to keep me going. I work on the race cars. Gen X works on the race cars. We do this as probably with an eighth of the funding that everybody else does. So, of course we want to play into this and really try to get it, get as much out of the opportunity as we can. Cause it's only hot for a short period of time.
Yeah. But it's the 10th place in all those races is a very difficult position to be in. And it's just a product of the racing, because like you said, you got to play defense and then you have to play offense, and neither one is going to cut each other any slack. And then, not only in your position, you got to worry about the guy behind you moving you to try to get to his bumper. So it's a difficult thing. I mean, and it sucks. And, in the end, somebody's got to be the loser, and it sucks being on it. I mean, you've been on that. I've been on it, both sides of that fence. And when you're on your side, you're like, hey, whatever, I got it. But it sucks to be on the other side of it. But that's just a product of the racing, and that's why we got so much publicity. That's what makes it so great.
Yeah, and that's really the nail on the head. There is that I could be in Andrew's spot where I was upset because I got I got moved or whatever the case was, and of course we wouldn't be happy about it. We were in a transfer spot and we got moved out of the way, and so I have been on both ends of the deal, and I hate that it has come down to the way it has. Of course, I made the race and I did get the better end of the deal, but that's not how I race on a weekly basis. I have a lot of respect from a lot of respected national champions. I've driven for Peyton Sellers, and I have his respect, and a lot of other guys that are just great race car drivers. And I didn't get that from being a wrecking ball or being a bully or being a nobody. I mean, I feel like I have the respect because I earned it. And, I know I didn't earn Andrew's respect in that race, and, it does suck, but, you're in that position where it's do or die. I mean, you got to make a decision and stick with it. And I still feel like after watching the video, I feel like probably Andrew would have made the same decision. I would have made the same decision. I mean, I can't speak for other people, but it was one of those decisions where you had to figure out how much you wanted it, and there were consequences after the fact, and you got to be able to deal with them as well.
I got to say one thing, that I admire how you handled this, because that guy went in that window and was doing whatever, punching or whatever. Of course, the good thing is you still had your helmet on, so he really didn't get nowhere with that. But anyway, I would have probably been, not now, probably a few years ago, I'd have probably jumped out of that car and done something to him. I mean, honestly. And I was amazed. And I know you had a lot to lose if you did jump out of that car.
I was going to say, I think we're all glad that Davey stayed inside of that car. That was the best way that was going to play out.
Absolutely.
Well, the best way I could put it there, as far as the fighting goes, you know, I'm a race car driver. I'm not a UFC fighter. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a boxer. That's not my claim to fame. That's not what I claim to be good at. That's not any of that. I'm a race car driver, and we're not fighters. It happens in our sport, but you know, I'm good at driving race cars. I'm not a fighter. I never claimed to be a fighter. You know, if it came head to head and I had to take care of myself, then you know, that is what it is. But it's kind of irrelevant. You know, I did everything I needed to do in my job, in my position with the team, and it stays on the racetrack, in my opinion. And you know, I just the violence and the fighting and this and that, you know, it's just, it's good in a way, but there is a fine line there with it, and we just got to keep, you know, everything in perspective with you know, with the big picture.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you did. You kept it in perspective, because a lesser person, and I'm going to consider myself the lesser person.
That goes without saying.
I would have jumped out of that car a few years ago. Not right now. I wouldn't, because I'm too old to do that. Shut up, Scott. But you know, I would have probably jumped out there and said something to him. But hey,
well,
you earn my respect before that.
And to be honest with you, and not harping on Andrew at all, you know, he is younger than me, and I was in my 20s or even before then racing late models. And I'll be honest with you, I had a temper like no other before. And maybe years past, I would have jumped out and lost my opportunity at the show, you know, at the you know, being in the show. And I guess, you know, I'm 33 now. I have a wife and kids, and I just,
You got little eyes watching.
I try to make that fire. I try to keep it in the race car. And for some reason, there's just a bigger picture when you got a 6-year-old that's in kindergarten watching this thing, and a lot of kids and fans, you know, you just don't want to put that example on.
Right.
Not mainly for my kid, obviously, but everybody else, you know, you really want to teach them good sportsmanship. And, you know, if you got to stick up for yourself, there's a time to do that, you know, and you have to do that. But you want to be the best that you can be, especially in the spotlight of Martinsville. I mean, you have hundreds of thousands, actually it ended up being millions of people see, you know, see what could go wrong or what could go right and how to handle it.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, and Davey, it's not like, and I agree with Jesse Jones here. It's not like you went in there and stuffed him in the wall like I was a month or so ago. You moved him, and there's a big difference. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I made a phone call or a message anyway to Brandon Pierce today, because really he's the one that really was an innocent bystander. You know, he was on the outside of that deal, and he got shucked in the wall and destroyed over you know, my doing or Andrew's doing, whichever way you want to look at it. That we were racing hard there for the inside, and you know, I made a call to him or reached out to him and just tried to say, hey, look, man, I screwed up. There was a different way to go about it. Hindsight's 20/20. I mean,
Sure.
You can look back at it and say, hey, man, I shouldn't have stuck my nose in there. I should have waited until here and done it then. And, you know, I mean, it's very easy to do that. But when you're running 130 miles an hour there, and it's really hard. Anybody who's raced that track knows how hard it is to get a run and get underneath someone enough to take position. I seen the video, you know, like I said, it can go both ways. I mean, I felt like I was there enough for his spotter at least to call, hey, you know, inside quarter, inside, you know, I mean, my right front hit his left rear tire. And when that happened, it jumped both of our cars in the air, and I had no control you know, for a split second. He had no control because he was sideways. We both hung on to it. It ricocheted him into the 2 car, which sent him straight into the fence. And then, you know, I made the corner, and then he actually fenced it off of turn 2, which was way after I had made contact with him. So there's a lot of things I could have done different, and there's a lot of things that he could have done different. And like I said, at the end of the day, only one of us is getting in the race. And I was fortunate enough to make it out on the better end this time, but it's not going to always be that way. And I get that. If I was the one to get turned or knocked out of the show, I'd be pissed too, no doubt. But there's a way to handle it, and a lot of people are watching, and you have to handle it.
Are you willing at some point, maybe after it dies down, is this something like you want to talk to Grady about and try to move forward?
I have reached out to like a mutual friend that I guess knows us both, and I have suggested maybe getting a phone call or getting his number one way or another. I think we both, at some point, me and him both need to talk about it. And like I said, I'm not trying to change his mind and say, hey, Davey's my buddy, or, I understand, or anything like that. But I think there needs to be a mutual civilized conversation about, hey, man, look, like this is where I'm at. And a lot of this stuff is media, and things are said that ticks the other person off, and it's not malicious, not anything like you're playing the game. I mean, we're trying to get sponsors here. We're trying to race. We're trying to promote ourselves, and that's what you're doing.
It's the best to have a bad situation. Yeah.
You have to capitalize on the best of a bad situation, and
that's what a good PR team does.
Yeah,
absolutely. Some good ones in your corner.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing, Davey. And then if I was Andrew, I would be on every show that I could, talk as much trash about you as I could. I would, because it's only going to make both of you better.
Like I said, he's gonna dislike me from here on out, and I don't blame him. I would dislike him from here on out if I didn't make the race. And next year we might be in the same spot, and he might fence me and swallow that pill as well.
I can promise you, when he comes on here, Davey, we will not say anything bad. We won't stir anything up. We're really good.
I think everything's been stirred up about as bad as it can be.
All right, let's just drop the fight thing here for a little while now. What did you take away from Martinsville that you can use for future terms at times you go to Martinsville? What are some of the things you learned about the track and how to race there?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't have a good race. I did finish 22nd, but we had some bent suspension stuff from that incident in the heat race. You only had 20 minutes to fix it. So we started the race with a damaged, hurt race car. So, and I knew that going into it, that we were hurt. So I wasn't able to really race the way I wanted to. My game plan was to just manage the race. And I knew if I managed the race and made the car last for 200 laps, because that's a long way for a late model stock at that long of a racetrack. If I managed the car and kept it functionable for the entire 200 laps, we were really good. We were going to have a really good shot at making the top 20 or real close to it, which is what we ended. But, and that's what I did. I didn't fight nobody. I didn't race anybody hard. I didn't have a car to really move forward at that point, with that right front damage. But, man, I just learned that place it's about luck as much as it is skill or speed or anything. There's just every single car that showed up to that race, there was 93, 95 cars, something like that, was a good race car and a good team and a good driver. You're not there because you're not somebody or something.
100%. But I can't believe Gen X couldn't get that car fixed. I thought they were like the team.
40-minute thanks, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, he's in the background. You got to talk to him about it.
Jamie said direct all of those to Wayne, please.
All those questions to Wayne. He can answer.
Yeah, he was giving us a lowdown on before you come on, so we knew what was going on with the car.
Yeah. Overall for us, being the small team we are, it was an absolutely, storybook, incredible weekend. I went into it thinking probably we had a 50-50 chance on making it, which is probably about right. We don't have any notes from there. I'm not very good there. I've only been there one other time. I have 0 race experience there, and which is another, thing that I could make an excuse about. But, I haven't raced there. I mean, last year when we got there, we did some, we broke maybe 2 laps into the heat race. So I have absolutely 0 car to car racing experience there. So, I mean, you're learning as you go, and you're going to make mistakes, and especially in that high pressure situation. And I was listening to an interview with Peyton, and he pretty much hit the nail on the head and really put it in perspective to me was, all of us racers have that fire inside where we're trying to, go for the kill and get the most out of our race car. And you got to be able to turn that on and off, on the track. Because if you don't have that on the track, you're not gonna succeed in high pressure situations. And off the track, you also have to be able to turn that off to a certain extent to, to be professional. Because we have a lot of people that back us, and I work for Verizon. I mean, it's a company. I had my boss call me on Monday saying he seen me on Good Morning America. The man didn't even know I race cars.
Dang.
What if I was on the other side of that? He could have told me, hey, man, this guy, it just looks bad, even though it didn't make you a bad person. I get it. But it just, there's just a lot riding on how you present yourself after something like that.
I totally agree. But I will say this, you did a great job. You represented yourself well. You represented your sponsors well. You ought to look at that, and being it was only your second time in Martinsville, you did a great job, and now next time you go, you get a little bit more experience.
Even though Wayne couldn't get the car fixed.
Right. I'm real proud of everybody, and real proud of our Gen X team, and Paul Henry, and Outback Firewood, and all the guys that make it. My dad and just my family, everybody that has pitched in or helped get me to the track. I'm just, I do it for them. And, I want to give them the same things they give us.
So Paul posted Verizon Racer.
Yeah, that's actually one of my coworkers. So
is this the one that just learned that you raced?
No, he's just part of one of our crews, but my boss name actually Paul as well. So, like I said, I mean, you just don't know who's watching, and more than likely nothing will come out of this. For me, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but you just don't know. You don't know who's watching. You just have to be. You have to be the best person and make the best decisions. And I've been racing a long time. I know Grady doesn't know me. I haven't been in the spotlight my entire career. From motocross to dirt, or from racing cars to dirt bikes and vice versa. So kind of been on both sides of it. But I have been racing go-karts and legend cars a long time. And this isn't my first rodeo. This isn't my first race.
What is that?
Who's
Do what?
Who's music going?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It must be.
Turn it down. It's my wife's watching TV.
It went over top of Davey there. I was trying to.
I was wondering why he was going in and out.
Well, Davey, we appreciate you. We appreciate you coming on and talking and giving your side of the story. And hope everything turns out good. And when are you racing any more this year, or are you done for the year?
As far as I know, I think we're done. I don't have anything on the schedule as of now. So I'm building a new house, and I got a lot of work to do to get the family straightened up and getting them in the new house and kind of get my life organized. So more than likely you won't see me unless something pops up that I don't know about. You won't see me until next year, probably at Dominion Raceway.
Uh-oh. Somebody's watching over you now. All right, Davey, we'll talk to you again real soon, man. I'll see you soon. Maybe sometime I'll get up there at the Dominion to see you sometime. I don't know when, but we're going to try.
All right. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Scott, Erin, and Wayne, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Davey. See you, buddy.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, man. All right. Oh, Lord, we got Scott in the middle of
Yeah, we don't need that.
We got that right. We don't want that one. All right, let's get Andrew on here and let's talk with him a little bit and see what he's got to say.
What's going on, guys?
What's up,
Hey,
Andrew?
man, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about y'all?
We're hanging in there, man. Look,
Same.
I know you probably don't want to talk about it, don't want to discuss it and everything. So what we're gonna start off.
We'll
We're
have
gonna,
no clue what we're about to ask you.
so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with how was the car and everything at Martinsville while you were down there?
Man, Mike Dorn Racing brought me an amazing race car. They put in 12 hours a day, every day for about a week and a half to get it rebuilt from Tri-County. As soon as we unloaded, it was really good. I mean, they are truly one of the best teams in the business. The car was amazing. Qualifying went really well. We didn't read the rule book close enough, apparently, and we got thrown out. And, that put us in the position in the rear of the heat race. But overall, man, it was a really good opportunity for us to qualify like that. It turned a lot of heads. A lot of guys come up to me on pit road and said they didn't expect it and how well I did. But, it was overall, man, it was a really good weekend.
So Andrew, I got to ask that, I'm, lack of a better, I don't know much about you. So where did you come from? How did you get started into racing?
My dad, man, he's raced forever. He raced, first off, he started out with flat track motorcycles, the big Harleys.
Oh,
and then
he's crazy then.
Yeah, he's extremely crazy. I told him, I was like, man, I ain't running nothing unless it's got a roll cage. And then he made the jump to four wheels, and he's been running forever. I mean, he's been running since 1955, probably. He's not that old, but
Lord, I'm getting ready to say, good Lord.
But I'm from Knightdale. Wake County Speedway is right down the road from me, and I got my start there. And then we moved on from there to Southern National. We dominated Southern National for a while, and we were the big fish in the little pond. And then we went from that to the really, really small fish in the ocean. We've been running Cars Tour, and that's been a really big learning curve for me. I mean, it's been massive. Every weekend we're against the best in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from top to bottom, I think most of the races this year, there's been a half a tenth from first to 20th. I mean, it is, the competition in that series is just unbelievable.
And very intense, very
Very intense.
going on.
Yeah, I love that. I love that Cars Tour, and I even liked it back when it was the Hooters Cup series. I loved it then
Sure
too.
you did.
Don't listen to her. Now let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. And you know what I'm talking about.
Where are you going to start?
Look, what's your side of the story?
Just give us your side of what took place. We've already heard Davy's side.
I mean, he said, all right. So he said we hit wheel to wheel. First off, that's not true. He hit me in the door, turned me sideways. Poor Brandon Pierce. I mean, God bless him. The man destroyed tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment to start 49th or whatever it was in the main. I just, and he said I would have done the same thing. I was brought up to race differently, apparently. I mean, I would have got into his corner panel and moved him, but I wouldn't have destroyed tens of thousands of dollars to start 40th, like I said.
So, I mean, we know we done seen all the escalation of what all took place after that, but I mean, I'm just gonna say it. What were you thinking when you went after him like that? I mean, were you hoping to get a hold of him or what? I mean,
Jack, I mean, obviously I wasn't thinking, to be honest with you, man. I wasn't thinking, obviously. I mean, afterwards I felt, I'm not going to say I felt bad about it or, man, it's one of them things, man. I love what I do. I have passion for what I do. And the reason I was honestly really mad about it was my guys worked so hard to get that race car to the racetrack week in and week out. And in a flash of an eye, he destroyed it. I mean, it's one of them things, man. He called it a racing incident. I don't call it a racing incident. I call that getting run over flat out, period. End of story. That is what it is. Cut, dry, no exclamation, nothing. He run me over to get into the show. No consideration for what was going to happen. You know, we're running really fast at that place. We're hauling the mail. You know, luckily I didn't hit perfect. I could have gotten hurt. Brandon Pierce could have gotten hurt. It's a very small percentage that it happens, but in this sport, it does happen.
No, it does. You're right. It does. And it's, I know, like Erin just said, was it the heat of the moment that just got you riled up like it did? Or?
And I asked because, again, I was on pit road and you had come past me. And I knew, obviously, the cars tour where, you know, we see a lot of each other at the track. And when we went past, I was like, oh, boy. And I called your name and it was like the lights were on, but nobody was home. Like you weren't hearing anything. You weren't seeing anyone. You had one track mind and nobody was going to stop you until I think the crew member finally just picked you up and carried you away.
Yeah, Big Sexy, we call him, 6'2".
I'm gonna tell you something. He grabbed you and pulled you away from that car, and I was thinking, I remember doing stuff like that when I worked in the prison system.
And man, he's a big old boy. He's probably got 200 plus on me, so I was pretty much getting picked up like a cat on the counter at that point. I was a passenger.
Yeah, you weren't fighting that one. You were just along for the ride.
Yeah, Andrew, you know, I don't think anybody is really. We've all been in those situations. I mean, before we had Davey on, we were talking about me. You know, I got mad and all I could see was red, and I turned backwards on the racetrack and I creamed the points leader on the last race, and he didn't win. So we've all done those things, and afterwards you think, you know, maybe I didn't handle it as good as I should. But it gets a lot of publicity, and sometimes that can be good.
Yeah, I mean, it does get eyes on the sport, but for the wrong reasons. I mean, everybody in this place knows that NASCAR is known as a redneck sport.
Yeah.
I mean, flat out, it's known as a redneck sport. And I didn't carry myself the most professional way, obviously. But once again, man, heat of the moment, he tore up tens of thousands of dollars. And I understand that the transfer spot was on the line. I understand that. But you don't get respect from guys in this sport by doing stuff like that. If he would have moved me, fine, all well and good. You got to the back bumper, cool, whatever. But he drove in 5 car lengths deeper than he has all weekend long to get to me. That is my one thing about this whole situation. He had no regard for Brandon Pierce, no regard for anything that happened. And I understand, once again, transfer spots on the line. Do what you got to do. But do not destroy race cars like that. That is the thing.
And I think, you know, Davey obviously was just on and he said that, you know, are there things that maybe he could have done differently? Yes. And that, you know, that he did, you know, maybe make some mistakes and he's owned those. At least that's what he said. And he said that, you know, he is interested in possibly having that conversation with you and, you know, maybe trying to clear the air again, maybe no time soon. Is that something that you would be open to? As you know, he has said, you know, he tried to reach out to Brandon. He does feel bad in that aspect. And he has even said that he feels bad for what happened to you. And it's something that, you know, I 1000%, I see your side. I see his side as someone who is very thankful that she does not have to play the PR in this mess. Has to, you know, see on a weekly basis. You know, I understand. I would have wanted my driver in that position. God forbid if it was Chase. I would have wanted Chase to be aggressive. For the show, you know, like we say, like Martinsville is our Daytona 500. We all look forward to this weekend, and I think emotions get the best of you on both sides. I think maybe you acted in a way that you normally wouldn't have acted, and you're not. They were valid. Your car was just destroyed and you were upset, and maybe his emotions on his side got the best of him. The pressure, you know, it's a lot. We're all people. We all make mistakes. And I think, you know, if there's a room, I think to have a conversation and say, you know, hey man, like, I'm sorry. Like, you know, it doesn't rebuild a race car, but is there a room for a conversation?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm not, I'm not an idiot. Yeah, I'm a grown man. There's definitely room for conversation for him and I. Some point, him and I will talk. Is it going to be tonight? No, it's not. But him and I will definitely talk. I'm sorry. Say what?
So tonight he's going in the fence.
Nah, I ain't gonna go. Nah, I've raced against him. I think once. I'm not real sure. I'm not sure if we've ever raced together or not. But
I think y'all have at Dominion.
Have we? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. As of right now, I'm not looking for payback. But I'm a race car driver. It is in the memory file. It is in the back. I'm not gonna junk him, but he will lose a couple spots if I get to him. I will promise you that. But him and I will talk at some point. Like they say, race car drivers are like elephants. We have a great memory. We never forget.
Mm-hmm.
So that's banked in your mind now. You're ready. You got that in there. If the opportunity presents itself, you're going to get 2 or 3 spots on it. That's the way it's going to be. And I understand that. From a racing perspective, I understand what you're saying. And,
but I just want to make this clear, and I know Davey's probably watching this. Man, look, we ever race against each other, I'm not going to destroy you. I promise you that. I'm not one to tear up race cars. I know your guys work just as hard as my guys do. I don't believe in tearing up race cars if it's completely unnecessary. I hate tearing up race cars, period. If it's anybody, if I like you or dislike you, I don't want your race car tore up into the day because I know your family spends money on it just like mine does. And at the end of the day, tore up race cars do nothing for anybody.
True. Very true.
That was a good statement, man.
That's very good.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head there. Would you have believed? Now I'm gonna get to the funny part of it.
All right.
Would you have believed how this publicity has the way it took off? Man, let me tell you something. I'm sitting at home last night watching the Late Show, and there you are on the Late Show.
Lord.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lordy. I mean,
what has your sponsors said, Andrew? Have they? I mean, I've had some sponsors, they like it, some of them don't. I had one in arena racing. This was kind of funny. It was Johnny Rockets. They used to feed us, and I got in a disagreement with somebody, and they came up and we kind of argued in front of the sponsor. And this was like my first interaction with the sponsor. So I'm like, man, this is a great first impression. After the guy walked away, the manager's like, hey, man, if you need me to Tanya Hardy somebody, you let me know. So they loved it. So how has your sponsors been through this?
It's a double-edged sword. They understood why I did it. And some of them were not really happy about it, but they weren't really mad about it at the end of the day. They understood why I was so mad. They understood why I went that far with it. Granted, hindsight 2020, I shouldn't have done what I did. And I know that. I'm aware of it. 5 minutes afterwards, when Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, retweeted it, I knew this was going to go massive. I shouldn't have done what I did. No questions asked. I should have either waited for him to get out of the car or just not did it at all. And
yeah, you should just unbuckle the seatbelts and then help him get out.
I tried. He's too tall. I couldn't reach down that far. I'm a shorter guy. But, my sponsors were a little bit upset with me. But once we spoke and I explained to them the big situation it was, I really feel bad for Brandon Pierce. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I mean, it destroyed that race car. I don't know if it's going to go to the graveyard or not, but it definitely knocked the rear clip off of it. They cut it off in the shed out back. So it's just one of them things, man. I understand Davey was racing for his life, like he said, but you don't dive in 5 car lengths too deep, make it 3 wide, and put 2 guys in the fence. You don't do that. That's how I see it. Now, if it had been for the win at Martinsville, totally different. Feel free. Monster truck over me. That's different. I'd wreck my grandma to win Martinsville, honestly. But I just don't know. It's a bad situation. I know he's gotten a lot of publicity off of it, as have I. I've gotten a lot of trolls in my inbox running their mouth, and you know how trolls do, which is fine. But now they've started going at my wife, and Yeah. She's gotten probably 100 messages in the last 4 days or whatever it was, going at her, going at me. But anything anybody has to say it to me. Just leave my wife out of it. She's not in the race car.
Yeah,
She was,
it's-
I think the wife, family, that is
That's-
separate, and I
yeah.
think
they're not
I
a
think
part
we
of
made
this.
a very positive step tonight. You know, Davey acknowledges the statement that you made tonight. He was watching, says, you know, a lot of respect for that statement. So I think both of you have really stepped into this light and are making a positive step. And we all make mistakes. And I think both of you as race car drivers, you now have a lot of eyes on you. And this gives you a platform to do something. You're both dads. You both have little eyes watching you. You both have, you know, little fans in the stands. And in order to keep our sport that we all love alive and well, we've got to continue, you know,
for sure.
passing it on. You know,
For sure.
I've got a little boy next door who comes to the track every weekend and watches. And while he's pure mayhem, you know, you guys are his heroes. You know, that's what he wants to be. And so I think both of you have made a step tonight to, you know, kind of
We
grow.
don't need them to squash it yet. We need to go for a couple more weeks.
Well, they don't have to squash it, but I'm just saying they can be big boys
And
and they can
I think Andrew's ready to squash it right now. Just get it out of the
they
way.
made a step. But I will say, leave the wife out of this, leave the families out of it. Don't, you know,
Totally agree.
appreciate it for what it is. Have fun with it by all means. I'm sure Andrew appreciates the memes as much as Davey does, and you know, the lawnmower 500. Make all of those jokes that you want. Those are big boys. They can take it, but leave the wife and the family out of it. That's uncalled for, and that's not cool.
I completely agree with you, Erin. I mean, I'm not going to apologize to Davey. My PR people wanted me to, but I can't do it. I can't. The only people I will apologize is the kids in the stands. That is who I will apologize to. That is not how you handle yourself. That is not how you act professional. That is not the way to handle a bad situation. And I do apologize to all the kids in the stands, all the kids that were watching. That is not a good example. And I know that, and I'm man enough to admit that. I shouldn't have done that. But heat of the moment, I love what I do. Racing is what I'm best at in this world besides being a husband and a father. It is the one thing I love about as much as I love my wife, as bad as she's going to hate to hear that. But
She's right there by you when you just said that.
Yeah, she
You got a Mike Tyson, yo, hey, keep playing it.
probably, yeah, definitely. But
when you get, you know, racing, you put a lot of time, effort into a race car, racing and everything. That's a passion we all have in some shape, form, or fashion. It's a passion we all have. You don't like to see things happen that, you know, tears up race cars. Either way, unintentionally or intentionally. You don't want that to happen.
right,
And I really appreciate the fact that you and Davey both came on here tonight.
100%.
Put yourself out there and told your side. And I honestly, I gained a lot of respect for you for what you said. And I got a lot of respect for Davey because I've known Davey a long time, and I got a lot of respect for him. But I do respect what you said tonight, and I think
100%.
It's one of those things that it's going to have to play. It's going to have to play out. And
Yeah, I mean, I know Davey's probably worried that the next time we race, I'm going to destroy him. But once again, tore up race cars does nothing. It just means more work. And we went from Tri-County where we started 30th, we were up to 4th. I got wrecked. We went to Martinsville. I got wrecked. My guys have worked so hard the past 3 weeks, and that is ultimately what made me the maddest, is those guys took time away from their families every night to get that race car ready. That is what made me the maddest possible, is I felt bad for them. I thought about their families in that instant. Instead of being at home with their families, spending time with their kids, they were getting my race car ready for Martinsville, and they gave me one of the baddest race cars there. If we could have made it into the feature, we would have showed them something. But it didn't work out that way. But I understand why Davey did it. I really do. I wouldn't have done it the way he did it. I would have gotten into my quarter panel, moved me up the racetrack. I'd have been fine with that. But he dove in 5 car lengths deeper than he had all weekend, hit me in the door, stuffed Brandon Pierce in the fence, and I went in the fence as well.
Well,
Is that your your Cars Tour car or?
Yeah,
Or
we
up in the air right now?
yeah, I as of right now, we're not gonna make it to Ace. That car's way
Well, at least
too.
it rained out this weekend.
Yeah, luckily, thank God. I hate that place anyway. That place and I do not get along. I cannot get around there to save my life. But it's just one of them things. I understand it's a racing incident supposedly, but we tore up race cars once again. Brandon Pierce was an innocent bystander in that. I feel like Davey should have taken into consideration, and me and Brandon Pierce were door to door. That's how I feel.
And you have every right to feel however you feel. I mean, and this has been, for me, it's been fun. The only thing I would have done, I mean, like I said, we've all lost our temper. The only thing I would have done is said, hey, y'all would have got together and say, look, man, when I go on the show, I'm going to talk mad trash about you, but hey, it's all in good fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I heard Davey on Idiot in the Morning, and he was saying a lot of bad things about me, and he's doing it for the clout. He's doing it to get eyes on him, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But that being said, we are grown men. We are not 7th graders in middle school. I haven't been anywhere bashing him, saying anything bad about him anywhere. And I don't intend to. I'm not going to. I'm a grown man at the end of the day. I'm not going to go behind his back and say this and say that. If I had anything to say about him, I'd say it to his face.
Yeah. Well, you said it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I hear what you're saying, and I get it. Because I've kind of been, and that's kind of what started the guy that I went backwards on the racetrack and creamed. He actually came on our radio show and didn't know I was on the show and was talking trash. So I completely understand where you're coming from, but I also understand too sometimes that we have people and sometimes we speak before we think. And then I could see, Davey going on these shows and, you kind of get in the hype of it and people want you to say those things. So I don't think it's totally, from Davey's heart. Sometimes it just comes, you say something, you don't quite mean it that way. Trying to make it more fun, more than hurtful. But it does make for good radio, and it makes for good
sure. For sure.
And, I can say that I've gained some respect for you, Andrew. I think this interview's been fun, and I hope you've taken something out of it. And I think Davey has, and obviously he said he respected your statement. And so, hey man, have fun and enjoy the spotlight while you can.
Yeah, I'm trying to, man. It's just it's hard to when I'm getting hundreds of hate messages, man.
I know.
I was gonna say
that's hard to deal with.
Sure,
it is.
I think it's different. I think Davey is getting a different side of it.
Sure.
So, and that kind of adds more salt in the wound for you, I think. You were still gutted. Like, you're looking at a tore up race car. You still have races on the schedule that you don't know if you're going to make. So the impact on the racetrack is hitting you, as well as you are getting a lot of hate and trolls. Your wife is getting it. So to you, it stings, and it's not funny right now because it went on well past Saturday to you. And on Davey's side, he's getting all the hype and the attention, and it kind of fell in his lap, and no one expected this. And I will say, I think we've made positive steps tonight, and then I hate to see tore up race cars too.
I do have to say one thing though. When you ran to that car and started punching, I was thinking, I hope he's got some gloves or something on his hand, because I know he still had a helmet on. So.
See, I was going to ask, but he conveniently put his hands up right at the camera when he came on live, because that was going to be my question. I was going to ask how your hands were.
They're good.
I figured you did that conveniently for everyone. That comment was out there a lot. So it was just very
What-
convenient that, the hands were up for display so everyone could see.
No, they're good. They ain't broken. I've had a couple people message me and tell me I'm the man with the iron fists. I found
What
that-
about, I have seen the hashtag, is your foot okay?
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, that was going to be my question because I did that one time, and as I limped away, I was like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah, I
Luckily-
accidentally kicked the race car and walked into the race car, and it doesn't feel good. And there was some force behind that kick.
Luckily for me, I kicked in between the door bars.
There
I
you
got
go.
really, really lucky, but no, my hands are fine. My toes not broke like I saw. I'm completely 100% fine. Mentally, I'm a little drained from all of this. This is the first time I've gotten to be able to say my piece and tell my side of it. And I'm glad you guys gave me the opportunity to do this. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully in the next couple of days, I can move forward, move on with my life, and get ready for, I think our next Cars Tour race is going to be, I think, South Boston on my birthday. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll get the one car ready and we'll move forward.
All right. Well, good luck to you, man. And I tell you what, I've gained some respect for you coming out and owning what you did. So good luck to you the rest of the year, and hope everything turns out good. I hope they'll leave your wife and family alone. That's uncalled for.
If they don't, you let me know.
That's totally
Yeah.
uncalled for, and
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. But good luck to you. And look, hey, I got one more question for you.
What's up?
I understand you're friends with Dave Adams.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
He
I'm
may not
sorry.
want everybody to know that.
I'm sorry, man. I'll tell you what, you're having a hard time with things like that. He's a friend of yours too. Wow.
And David Adams is a really good buddy of mine. Him and my daddy go way back. And first time I was around him, I think I was 4 years old. So as I've gotten older, him and I have grown closer. And he gave me some advice before I come on this show, as did my dad. My dad gave me a lot of really good advice on how to handle myself. Once again, man, I'm going to say it again. I'm sounding like a broken record. I know what I did was wrong. I regret it. But at the end of the day, I felt like that is what I had to do. And we'll move forward and we'll get ready for South Boston.
All right, man. Well, good luck to you. We'll get you back on here again after everything gets calmed down and talk to you again about what's going on this season with you and everything.
That sounds good. Hopefully, if you guys are up for it, I'd love to come on the show again, and maybe Davey and I can have our conversation on this show, and him and I can discuss it and talk about it. I would actually love to do that. Honestly,
Consider that done.
Well, we can make that happen. It might not be right now, but we can see if we can get that to happen.
Yeah, we're not talking tomorrow, but him and I will talk at some point.
All right,
Y'all
man.
are ready for that. We'll definitely be a fly on the wall for that
Well,
conversation.
we'll help you out with that, because I think that's a wise idea to let everybody see that you two are going to try to move on.
For
And
sure.
one
Great
shape.
role models.
So that's honestly a good move. And something you just said is that's honestly something smart. I really do think that's great.
I'm not holding a grudge against him. I'm really not. Him and I will speak, and we'll move forward from this. He's got a lot of years left in racing, just like I do. This has kind of helped both of our careers. It's helped mine a little bit, hurt it a little bit probably. But if you remember, Clint Boyer tore up Ryan Newman's head when he was in the race car, and Clint Boyer's doing just fine. So I'll be okay at the end of this.
It's how you build back from it, Grady. That's going to be important. So,
Yes, ma'am. 100%. Yes, ma'am.
proud of you for coming on tonight, handling yourself with class, and taking the steps that were taken tonight. And we appreciate you coming on and giving us your side.
Thank you guys, Scott, Jack, everybody. I appreciate you guys having me on, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to tell my side of it. I really, really appreciate it.
All right, man. We appreciate it too that you took time to do it. We'll talk to you again soon. All right.
See
Yes,
ya.
sir. Thank you, guys.
All right,
See you,
now.
bro.
All right, bye-bye.
Well, that was pretty interesting.
Actually, it went pretty well. Actually, it went well.
Yeah.
Y'all, I would just like to point out that we just had two people with conflict come on the show and didn't make it worse. We made it better.
And
Scott stayed quiet for most of it. Look at us go.
we can't say we made it better yet.
I think there were some very
Oh,
positive
yeah,
steps that were taken tonight. I think it was very good.
It's
and
racing.
It is racing. So
So maybe in a few weeks when everything, dies down a little bit, maybe we can get Callahan and him together on the show like if he's willing to do it. I mean,
yeah.
that's the situation that.
Yeah, and I mean, and both of them were honest. Both of them told what they felt too.
Yeah.
They didn't hold any punches.
Yeah, I agree.
I am surprised that nobody has asked Andrew to come on the show though. Like,
What do you mean?
wait, didn't he say like this was the first opportunity he's had to speak? I mean, Davey's had a couple.
Yeah,
shows
so
he's
I
done.
reached out to Andrew, I think Sunday or
I
Monday.
think Scott's talking about people reaching out to him. to
Yeah, that's what I'm
interview him.
saying. And he had said then that I was like, I'm sure your inbox is blowing up with media requests. And he was like, not really. Like, I don't think they know how to get in touch with me, but I think it's just a matter of that double-sided coin.
I also think it's the day and the time of things in the world. So, the aggressor and the non-aggressor. I mean, there's other words to use, but I'm not.
True. Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think that's why it has swung that direction.
That very well could be.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. We had a great show tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching, share, and like it, and go back and watch it again because there was a lot of good stuff going on here tonight. So I really appreciate Jason coming down here and being with us
Thank
today.
you guys for having me.
And really cool to have you down here.
You survived.
Welcome to the Driver of the Week Club too.
Yeah, I will. It's an honor. I'm humbled. There's a lot of people that made this happen for me, and I'm very appreciative of it.
What do you say, Scott? Welcome to the club.
Yeah, he's in on our league.
They blackballed you out of the club. You out now.
He's probably got one of these hanging on the wall.
No, he don't.
He doesn't?
No, he doesn't.
That was pre the plaques.
Little box you got there.
All right. We'll see everybody next week. I think we're going to try to have.
We are going to have Chase Burrow, and we can hear all about his version of Martinsville. Was pretty exciting. Catch up with him, car store. He's chasing down Rookie of the Year over there. And then we will have Kyle Nestor and the number 18 Snap Mobile Limited Late Model, who might have some exciting news.
Okay.
Might
That's
be.
pretty interesting to Nancy to leave me like that.
I know, right?
I mean, you just never know what K&M's up to. I hear their PR girl is full of some tricks.
We may even someday soon get Ricky Smoot on here.
Right.
Look, you never know who I might show up with.
You know about Ricky Smoot?
I know a little bit about it.
All right, let's see Scott later. Go see if you can go put your foot up.
Yeah, my food's ready.
It's
Oh, it's been ready.
Oh.
We heard the microwave.
We heard it. Well, yeah, we heard it go off, and then I heard it warm it up, and
Well, it's got to be just right, Jack.
it's okay. That's right. Keep on treating Rachel like that. She's about to take a brick and hit you with it. So anyway,
Feel better soon. We
Yeah.
miss you.
well,
Putting words in your mouth.
I don't know where she's saying we from.
Maverick
She's French.
misses Scott.
Hmm.
Don't look like he's missing too much right now.
You just say no, he's not.
All right. Talk to you later, Scott, and see everybody next week.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Let's see, here's where I messed up last.